I think I'm gonna be okay. I hope.
At least you're honest.
That's true.
That's policy.
Woo. How's your day?
Wrong now.
Okay. I'm just gonna start. Okay. Take caution before you cohabit. Have you ever heard the saying, practice makes perfect? If I told you that this was all wrong, that it's a lie, that practice would actually increase your risk of failure? Well, maybe to your surprise, that's exactly what I'm here to tell you today, at least when it comes to premarital cohabitation. While cohabitation may seem like it's great preparation for marriage and very plausible, it's really not. It increases your risk of divorce and actually promotes more negative communication in your relationship than positive. And it doesn't simulate marriage the way that you'd expect. There are many reasons that people may think that it's okay to cohabit. People like to take the relationship for a test drive, per se, find out how compatible they really are, and see if that they'd be able to live together, maybe marrying each other someday in that kind of closeness. Another reason why people tend to cohabit is to save money. People tend to go back and forth to their significant other's house, spending the night, then coming back, and then eventually leaving things at their house. And David Cohen suggests that there's evidence against this, and that it's actually not good preparation for marriage, and only will backfire because it'll increase your risk for divorce and distress in your relationship. Scott Stanley says that this increases the divorce risk because of relationship inertia, which is where couples who maybe would not have married in the beginning end up getting married because they have already moved in together, and then they find that it's actually not so great. But by now, they're tied down to constraint commitment because maybe they've bought a house together for religious beliefs, have money, children, and now they feel like they can't divorce because they are constrained to all of those different factors. And instead, it becomes more of a constraint commitment than a personal dedication to each other. Ann Rayner actually suggests that 30 to 50% of couples who cohabitate are more likely to have unsuccessful marriages than people who don't. And clinical psychologist Meg J. tells of one of her clients, Jennifer, who at the age of 32 married her boyfriend, who she had lived together with for more than 4 years, that she, after her lavish wedding day, she was happy until a year later when she came in to Meg and was asking for advice on divorce attorneys. This goes to show just how much moving in together and living together to test drive your marriage is not a good idea at all. It increases the divorce risk, but it also leads to less satisfaction in marriage. And who wants to be unhappy once they're tied down, right? And let's not raise the divorce risk, come on. Spencer L. James suggests that on average, cohabitors report poorer marital quality and greater instability than those who go directly into marriage. Due to this ambiguity trend within cohabitation, causes people to slide versus decide, which is where Stanley suggests is a non-deliberative process of kind of just over time, just ending up moving in together rather than talking about it beforehand and deciding that this is something that you want to do. Jay suggests that when sliding versus deciding, you often end up having many tensions in your relationship because you'll often have different perceptions of what path you guys are truly on in your relationship. This is a decision that is really, really significant, and to just glide over it is not a good idea whatsoever. It creates many unclear expectations, which definitely causes disconnect between a couple. While a woman may expect to be engaged, this process may just be a man's way of prolonging a serious commitment. Do you see the disconnection there? Stanley talks about this ambiguity of cohabitation is as part of the pathway toward a marriage prone to divorce and distress. Jay suggests that couples sit down and talk about their motivations and goals for their marriage before they decide to move in together, and that they talk about what they want out of their relationship, more about their goals and what this would look like before making such a serious commitment that may mean so much, like engagement to one and just convenience to another. PhD Aaron Ben-Zeev says that the low commitment in cohabitation can be attributed to the ambiguity and because of the uncertainty of one's obligation to another while cohabitating. Because they aren't quite in a marriage, there's not that same level of commitment. Personally, my parents lived together before they were married for about 8 months before engagement, and they divorced when I was only 6 years old. Also, my roommate's parents decided to live together before they were engaged or married, and they also are divorced. While many people tend to believe that cohabitating would simulate marriage, it really doesn't. Stephanie Pappas tells us that marriage is actually linked to benefits for your own health, whereas cohabitation does not provide any of these different health benefits. Research from Jim Cohen suggests that the brain links just living together with the lack of commitment to one another and even does not allow your brain to relax in the stressed state. For example, he did a research study where he took couples and did an electric shock threat on their ankles, and those who were holding the hand of their spouse had a much calmer hypothalamus than others while holding their hands. And couples who were not holding no one's hand or just the hand of a partner that they were cohabitating with did not show this same calmness that those of married couples. Who would have thought that holding hands with someone could actually mean so much? Married people have a trust that they have each other's back and are in that cohabitating does not give. And cohabitation actually shows a lack of trust and reliability on their partner. This same research was also done with same-sex couples, and although at the time in that state the law was against gay marriage, those who considered themselves married and had that stated commitment to one another had also a calmer hypothalamus, but those who just lived together still did not. Cohen states marriage as a proxy for trust and reliability. Ultimately, cohabitation prior to marriage is something you should definitely veer away from. It seems logical to test drive a relationship and see how well you can live together, and if those little things that get on your nerves about living together will be big enough to not marry. But this really doesn't help you. Before you say I do, don't. For your own sake, please, just don't do it. Divorce is extremely high, so why raise your own risk? Furthermore, instability and negative communication are associated with this, and they are huge indicators that cohabitation is definitely more harmful than helpful. So please, join me and vow that you will wait to get married before you move in with your partner. Thank you. Thank you.